So you're thinking about moving to Albany, Oregon, but you want to get a little bit more of a feel for what the town has to offer? Well, you are in the right spot, because in today's video we're going to be exploring Albany a little bit. Right now I'm in the downtown area, and then we're going to be, as we always do, looking at a few houses at a few different price ranges. So let's get right to it. Well, if you're new to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living here in Albany, Oregon, or the Willamette Valley, hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you can be the first to learn about the current market here in Albany. My name is Ryan, and I am a real estate agent here in the Mid-Valley, and I love helping people just like you who are thinking about moving to the area. So whether you need to move in a day, a week, a month, or a year, feel free to give me a call, text, or email. I'd be happy to help you make a smooth move to the Albany area. And as we mentioned, today we are looking at Albany, Oregon, and right now we are in the historic downtown area. The downtown area isn't huge. It's just really, this is 1st Street. It's really 1st, 2nd Street, and then 3rd Street has a little bit to go to it. Here, let me look across the road so I don't get ran over. Then 3rd Street back just 2 blocks that way has a little bit of that downtown feel, but it's going to be more of your banks and buildings like that. So not really walk around and look at shops or anything, but really 1st Street and 2nd Street are your main places to go. So just a little bit about Albany here. Albany is going to be your 11th biggest city here in Oregon. Now, it's still not a very big city. Oregon doesn't have that big of a population, so it doesn't take much to get in that top 10 list. Albany just has 57,000 residents, or approximately. It's probably a little bit higher now. That was a few years old of an estimate. Albany really, in my opinion, is this great mid-sized city where you have all those essentials. You don't quite have those luxury brands maybe, but again, all those essentials, so you have everything you need around, and a little bit more of that small town feel than Salem, Eugene, and definitely Portland. So as you can tell, pretty quiet down here in the downtown area. There are some people wandering about. It's kind of an awkward hour, about 2 o'clock, so the lunch rush is done. So you don't expect a ton of people walking around, but there are definitely some people checking out the shops. Right here, just past a Lego store. That's pretty cool. Again, lots of little boutiques, lots of nice restaurants in the downtown area. We've walked past a few, and I'll circle around here and go down 2nd Street once we get 1 block further. Albany does have all these beautiful areas in the downtown area. There's a mural on the side of this building, and just those nice flower pots, and they really do a nice job of making it look really good while you're going downtown. Definitely a nice area of Albany, and if you're just in town for a visit, you could definitely spend an afternoon here looking at all the shops and looking at the parks around here. Albany is quickly becoming a good alternative to Salem. Again, if you're looking for maybe a smaller feel, and Salem's a little bit too big for you. A lot of customers are looking to buy houses in Albany instead. As far as real estate goes, you're really looking at a similar market here. Of course, it's a lot smaller, but prices aren't that different. There are some nice luxury areas in the North Albany area that probably drive up the house prices a little bit. And then around Albany, on some of the hills, on the west and east side, there are some pretty expensive properties that are driving up that average price point here in Albany. So if you're looking for maybe a starter home, you might be able to get a little bit bigger of a house here in Albany than you would in Salem. But again, in those higher markets and those luxury markets, Albany and Salem are fairly similar priced. I actually painted a mural right here on the side of this building right now, so that's pretty cool. They're always adding to this artwork here in the downtown area. And then I was going to mention this later, but I'll just show it now since I'm walking past it. That is the Albany Historic Carousel, and of course some nice hand-painted horses in there to go ride. I don't know if it's open right now, but it usually is, and so if you have kids, definitely a popular spot to check out is the carousel. Albany, of course, has that public school system, and it has 14 elementary schools, 4 middle schools, and 2 high schools, which are going to be West and South Albany High Schools. They're not very creative with their naming system there on the high schools. But there are a few private schools as well in the area. And the private schools in the area are going to be Albany Christian School. There is a Lutheran school down in South Albany. And then I think the most popular is going to be Sandy Am Christian School, which is actually west of Albany over in Adair Village. For those schools, I always recommend you guys do your own research. So there'll be a link to great schools and niche down in the comments or down in the description below. That way you can click on those and do some of your own research, because I don't know what you guys value in schools. So it really depends person to person and family to family. Past college or past high school, there is Lynn Benton Community College here in Albany, which is a great place to go if you're looking to do dual enrollment with Oregon State University. I'll talk about that one more a little bit in an upcoming video, just to keep this one a little shorter. Well, there are some trade-offs of living in a small town like Albany, and that is there aren't quite as many activities to do around town, just because the population isn't quite big enough to support as many of those activity-based businesses as some of those bigger towns are. But there are still quite a few things you can do, whether you're looking for some activities to do with your family, or maybe something to do on a date night rather than just going to a restaurant and window shopping the downtown area. So like I mentioned before, that historic carousel is a great place to check out with kids. There's also a YMCA out in Southtown, kind of by Lynn Benton Community College, and that's a great community center. They have a lot of events going on there, a lot of kids camps, and they have a big swimming pool, basketball courts, and things like that. Also down Southtown, there is a bowling alley pretty close to Lynn Benton Community College. And then down here in downtown, there is the Pix Movie Theater. There is another unique spot downtown that I thought I'd mention. I've never gone there, but it's called the Splatter Box, and it's this room you rent out. I think it's pretty popular for kids' birthdays. You wear like a white t-shirt, and then they provide paint and you throw it at each other. It looks terrible to me, but I'm sure kids, and there's some people out there that would absolutely love it. There's also several museums, like I mentioned, the Monteith House Museum, that have a lot of community events throughout the year. And I think there's another museum also. Sorry, some birds rustling in the trees behind me. And then there's also the Albany Civics Theater, if you want to go watch a play or something. I'm not sure how often they have plays, but they do have them every once in a while at least. And then other than that, there really are just the parks around here. Bryant Park is going to be one of those biggest parks out just a little bit south of the historical area here. And then you have a lot of smaller community parks. I'm in the Riverfront Park pathway right now. And then the Monteith Park, where there's usually some events, is currently under construction as they're doing some work on the Riverfront embankment. Albany also has quite a few community events to check out. They have the Lynn County Expo Center, which is the fairgrounds for the county, which is here in Albany. So they have the county fair and lots of events. I've gone to like ag shows there and quite a few professional like events, like classes they'll hold there also. But downtown, I think they do a yearly wine walk, which I'm not sure what's going on there. And they also have some beer event in the downtown area where you go through the different restaurants, and I think there's a few breweries that represent themselves there. But one of the biggest events here in Albany is going to be the Northwest Art and Air Festival, and this is going to be a hot air balloon inspired event where they have a lot of hot air balloons. So every morning during the, I think it's Friday to Sunday weekend event, they have hot air balloons in the sky, really beautiful. I've seen it a lot driving down I-5 for work, just driving down. It's like, oh, it's the air festival, because there's all these hot air balloons around the Albany area. And one of the most popular times during that event is going to be the night glow, which is when they actually stake the hot air balloons down to the ground in the park, and then they'll inflate them and then have the jets on at night, so all the hot air balloons are glowing, which is a pretty cool event and definitely some Instagram worthy content there. And one other event I forgot to mention is going to be, they do concerts in the park during the summer. So I think they do about 8 a year, and so most of the weekends during the summer they'll have some live music in one of the parks. Well, I hope that is a good summary of the community here in Albany, but for now, let's get off into one of the neighborhoods and look at our first house. And here we are coming up on our first house of the day, and we are starting off at the lower point of the market, really your starter homes. And this is what you can get into for a house here in Albany, and that's going to be the low 3 to mid 300 range. This house right behind me is listed right at $325,000. It is a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house. It is a little on the smaller side. It's only 988 square feet, which brings the price per square foot to $328 or $29 per square foot. This house, they could use a little bit of landscaping, it looks like, but on the interior they just did a fresh coat of paint. It looks pretty nice in there, some of the updates they've done. It is a house built in 1971, so it looks like it still has that original kitchen structure, but I think they just painted the cabinets. But it does look pretty nice, and they did a fairly good job on it. We are actually here in South Albany, kind of in the central area. Maybe not the most popular area here in Albany, but it does have some convenient factors, mainly that it is fairly close to being in the center of 99E and I-5. That way you can get over to I-5 quickly, so maybe commute north or south, or you can get to 99E, maybe to get to Willamette Community College, or over to Corvallis. We are also pretty close to the Heritage Mall, if you want to be close to those amenities. And we're also close to Periwinkle Park. And then a cool part about some of the parks in this area, they're actually all connected by a paved walking path. So if you want to have one of those longer paths and you don't want to be on the side of the road quite as much, then that is also a cool feature of this area. But that is pretty much it for this area, so we will head on to the next one, which is also in South Albany. And here we are in the next little neighborhood, also here in South Albany. We are just a few blocks away from South Albany High School. A little bit of a nicer area. The houses in this particular neighborhood are a little bit more expensive. Also kind of a unique area in the fact that there's an irrigation canal kind of bordering this neighborhood, and then it also butts up to a field. And then on the other side of the field is I-5. So you don't get too much I-5 noise, which is nice. You kind of expect to get a little bit of it since it's just an open field between you and I-5, but I guess it's far enough away that it's not terrible. But anyways, it is this brick facade house right behind us. Brick isn't super common in the area, just because it's not really necessary to keep termites out, because we don't really have that many damaging insects in the area. But yeah, so this house right behind us, and it is a cute one. It is listed right at $469,900, and it is 1,854 square feet. It does have 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, and all that math together takes $253 per square foot. Definitely a little bit more of a unique architecture on this one. I think it's a 1980 house, so definitely not just your cookie cutter house. Has a lot of built-ins, and again, they definitely did not just go with your standard floor plan. So it has a lot of nice unique features in there, and again, a nice quiet neighborhood here in South Albany. And then another feature of this house that is pretty nice is that it is on 0.32 acres, so you have quite a bit of land back there, and as you can see, it's on the outside corner, so it's not the corner lot, it's on the outside corner of the lot, so it has a pretty good private backyard there, which is definitely a nice feature. So, but that's kind of what you get in this neighborhood. I think a lot of these other houses are probably similar price to even a little bit more expensive. As you can tell, there are a few single levels over there and a few that are 2 levels, so kind of get everything in this neighborhood. But again, just this quiet little neighborhood, and no HOA also here, so just a good community that are keeping their houses nice, and definitely one worth checking out if you're in the area. Our next neighborhood is in North Albany, and we are not too far in North Albany, but up on one of the hills in this nice quiet little neighborhood. And as you can tell, there are some fairly nice houses in this area, and we are currently on a hill with a north-facing view. So you're going to be looking down into the North Albany Valley, and it is beautiful down there. The house that is for sale that we are currently looking at is this one here right behind me. Hopefully you can see it all. It is 3 levels with that garage down here on the ground floor, and then 2 levels of living section right above it. Both living levels have views of the valley, which is a cool feature that you do not see when you are in South Albany, because that area is all flat bottom down there on the bottom of the valley. But over here in North Albany, there is a few hills, so you get some elevation change, which gives you a lot more opportunity for those views of the surrounding area. So this house definitely has it. It is also a very unique house, as you can tell. It is listed at $565,000. It has 4 bedrooms, 2 full baths, and 2 half baths, which is a weird combination you do not normally see. And it is also the biggest house we have looked at today at 2,538 square feet, with the total price per square foot of $222 per square foot. So it is a pretty cool looking house. They did update it just about 5 years ago, so it has some really nice additions in there. The lot size is nothing to be super excited about, just about 1/5 of an acre, but it does have a new roof. But again, just want to show you kind of that neighborhood back there looking down the street, some of those cool houses, both directions down the street. Again, looks like it's a really nice little neighborhood over here in North Albany. I definitely recommend wandering through a few of the neighborhood streets here in North Albany if you're in the area and you have time to do it. But other than that, let's get on to the next one. Here we are at our last house of the day, and I'm actually switching up on you, and we are no longer in Albany. We are actually in Millersburg, which is just a tiny little town on the north side of Albany. It's mainly this industrial area with these big plants, and there's a warehouser, and there's a manufactured home facility. I think it's, I forget which one it is. I think it's Pearl Harbor Homes. But anyways, mainly this industrial area, and then there's this residential area behind it. It's a pretty nice community. Again, most of the houses are newer, built 2000 and earlier, or 2000 and newer. There is some development going on right now in the community. So there are brand new houses, and I'm sure for many years to come, there'll be new developments into the farmland as Millersburg expands. I think it's going to be kind of like a Salem Kaiser situation, where Millersburg will eventually just become a pretty seamless transition to Albany. But who knows? For right now, they're a few miles apart, but still. But it's a tiny little town, so Millersburg kind of depends on Albany for your grocery shopping and your amenities. Here we are, again, just this nice little residential area. This house right here behind me is the most expensive and slightly bigger than the last house we were looking at. It is a custom built house. I'm not sure how custom. The house next to it looks like a similar architecture style, but just slightly different. So it looks like they had a few different floor plans, and then you got to modify it a little bit as you went. But anyways, this house is listed at $650,000. It is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It is 2,567 square feet. And the price per square foot is, I think, $253 per square foot. Anyways, it's a very nice custom house. The living room actually has a library wall on it, which makes it kind of a cool den-like feature. But the double car garage and then some living space up above it. So very cool custom house, very nice landscaping in the front yard and in the backyard. Very nice kitchen and all around, just a great buy if it's in your budget. Well, that is it for this video, and if you guys have more questions about the Albany area or really the Mid-Willamette Valley in general, feel free to give me a call, text, or email. And if you guys are thinking of moving here, I'd be happy to help you out. I love working with you guys as you're doing your research here on YouTube. So again, if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out. But for now, I hope to see you guys around town.